Let's not waste too much time because believe me, we don't have it. Pope Francis has died, and the prophecy of the Black Pope is the topic of conversation all over the world. But why? What do experts mean when they say the Black Pope is coming? And although the expression seems to be taken from a movie, many people believe it has to do with the end of the world. I'm sorry to have to tell you, but the truth is that we have been lied to. That's right. Does the prophecy exist? Of course it exists. It's as real as you and me. And that precisely is the only truth in this whole matter. But these are not the two prophecies that everyone is talking about. No. This is the version that the Vatican has quietly buried. The detail that will decide the election of the next pope when the cardinals are sequestered in the Conclave. Stay with me and learn the true prophecy of the Black Pope, the text forged by the eyes. The two evident ones that the Vatican guards in convents scattered around the world. You will also unmask the falsehoods of Saint Malachy and Nostradamus. And don't you dare miss the ending. Because I'm the documentalist, and this is the Black Pope. Let's go to the first lie. It all begins with an ancient prophecy credited to Saint Malachy. A 12th century bishop who wrote a list with all the popes there would be until the end of times. The last one on that list doesn't have just any name. He calls him Peter the Roman and mentions that he will be in power amidst many crises. After him would come the final judgment. However, it's crucial to clarify a key point. The phrase Black Pope does not appear at any moment. It is actually a modern interpretation of what that last pope could represent. But that's not all. This prophecy is false and was written on purpose, with a much more terrible end in mind. I'll explain it with an example. Imagine that today an ancient prophecy appears, made on purpose to influence you to vote for a president of the United States. But everyone believes that it really is ancient, that it is from Saint Malachy, written in the year 1148. The world is amazed because it perfectly describes the presidents of the United States and fascinated by the saint's precision to guess everything about Trump 877 years ago. And that's not all. It clearly states the year 2029. After Donald Trump, there will come a president who gives away millions and millions to his followers. Blonde, tall and famous, and he will become the best president in history. Ending poverty and wars not only in his country but all over the world. Well, if everyone believed that prophecy is true, in 2029 they would vote for Mr. Beast. And by the way, well, let's continue. Do you guys understand me? That's exactly what happened with Saint Malachy and the Black Pope. Because the most important thing is that many historians consider it false. There is no evidence that it was written by Saint Malachy. In fact, it wasn't publicly known until more than 400 years after his death, when it mysteriously appeared in 1595. Additionally, the prophetic descriptions match suspiciously accurately with the popes prior to that date, but become vague for those afterwards. This suggests that it was written by someone else and attributed to the saint on purpose, to influence the election of the pope. A masterstroke that went wrong. Let me tell you. The prophecy of Saint Malachy first appeared in 1595 in a book titled Lignum Vitae, the Benedictine monk Arnold de Wyon. Many historians believe it was fabricated to benefit Cardinal Girolamo Simoncelli, who aspired to the papacy at that time. Why? Because one of the mottos of the prophecy, ex antiquitate urbis, from the antiquity of the city, fit perfectly with Simoncelli, who was originally from Orvieto, an ancient Italian city. It is suspected that the text was designed to make it appear that Simoncelli was predestined to be pope according to an ancient divine prophecy, which could influence the conclave. However, Simoncelli was not elected pope, and over time, the prophecy continued to circulate, feeding legends and apocalyptic theories to this day. With the rise of social media, this old trick of Cardinal Simoncelli went viral and feeds on the Black Pope, although it never names him. On the other hand, there is the other lie, attributed to Nostradamus, the 16th century apothecary, known for his verse prophecies. Quatrains that we have already analyzed quite a bit on this channel. On social networks, a phrase that is attributed to him is often shared, which goes more or less like this. First will come a foreign pope, then an old one, and finally the Black Pope. With him the end of the world. It sounds shocking, yes, but that phrase is completely false. It's not in his original books. It's a modern invention that mixes ideas taken from various places and that, like so many things on the internet, also went viral. But then, does the figure of the Black Pope not have a real origin in authentic prophecies? That's exactly what they want us to believe, that everything is a lie. That's why they have associated it with the false prophecy of St. Malachy, which speaks of Peter the Roman, not the Black Pope. Something that is easy for everyone to discover, and even more so, the fact that Nostradamus never wrote what people share on social networks. So once we've discovered this, should we feel like fools and that everything is simply made up and that the Black Pope prophecy doesn't exist? And that, as I anticipated, is what they want you to believe, because it would allow the Vatican to hide the fact that it really does exist. And it's more terrible than you think. Pay close attention. Throughout history, there are people who see things they can't explain. Sometimes they only serve to torture their minds and not much more. However, there are in the world a handful who are truly special. The Vatican identifies them from childhood and executes the EYES protocol, which basically consists of sending a priest to the home. Check if they present the 3 signs. If so, take the child and bring him to live in one of the convents, where he will spend the rest of his existence in prayer and in service to the church. Because every morning, without exception, the Pope receives a report that contains everything from news about the health of the cardinals to finances, to the complete list of creatures that the Vatican has locked up in the 3rd basement. And of course, any scandal that needs to be urgently addressed. But in the end, there's always a box left that says eyes without news. Does that mean the Holy Father can be at ease? The 2 Vatican evidences, distributed in different convents around the world, have not had the same vision, at least not 3 of them. What is the minimum coincidence that is sought to elaborate a prophecy based on these visions and present it to the Pope? If there are not 3 who have seen the same thing, the Supreme Pontiff can be at ease. But I'm going to tell you how it was that not only 3, but 7 of them reported having seen the world, after the chair of St. Peter was occupied by the one they called the Black Pope. Seekers of hidden truth, I have returned with something that will change your perception of reality forever. It all started in October of 2001 in Boston, Massachusetts. Father Parrilli arrived at the Hutons' house, Dad, Mom, and little Jack, because that's where the priest was. Because a month earlier, Jack, who was only 9 years old, had run to hang on his father's back and didn't let go. No matter how much they tried to calm him down, the boy cried and held him so tightly that he even dug his nails into the man's neck, making him bleed. But even that couldn't calm the madness attack, leaving him in shock. Also to the mother, who kept repeating to him over and over and over again, "Jack, son, for God's sake, let go of your father. He has to catch that plane. Let him go." "Are you crazy?" But the boy, as if in a trance, just kept repeating, "Don't go, Dad, the towers. You crash into the towers." Finally, when they could forcibly remove him, it was already too late. He arrived at Logan Airport minutes after his flight. American Airlines 11 had taken off without him. Almost an hour later, that same plane crashed into the North Tower of the World Trade Center. Father Parrilli entered the house, and after the greetings, he began to look for 2 of the 3 signs he needed. He first asked to see the child's drawings. All of them. Why does the priest know that they all illustrate what they see? And will he find it in any of them? They always draw it. To whom? To Satan? All the higher seers are closely watched by the evil one and suffer constant attacks. It didn't take him long to find it. Jack had drawn a house, the street in front, and a car running over someone. The damned one peeked out from behind the background trees. Just a little, but there he was. Father Parrilli asked the boy, "Tell me, Jack, how long has it hurt you to see what you see?" "Where does it hurt?" "Tell me without fear. Is it in the hands and the feet?" Mrs. Hilton tried to explain that her son never hurt. It was only that episode of the plane and the Twin Towers. But Jack started touching his forehead and around his head, saying, "It pricks a lot here and here." The priest took his face with both hands and said, "The crown of thorns. Out of all the stigmas that the holy seers have, you have been touched by one of the most painful." "I'm sorry, little one, but it gets worse over time." The 3rd sign should not be sought. It appears alone, always, and in the most forceful way. The truth was explained to the parents, Aurelie told them. If the 3rd sign appears, Jack will be one of the eyes of the Vatican. We will help him. He will live in a convent under the care of the nuns. There is no other way out, otherwise the devil will tear him apart in body and soul. So that none have lived more than 25 years. Father Parrill's phone rang. That was the 3rd sign he was looking for, and it appeared. One of the eyes. He had died. Because there must always be 12. This happens every time. When one is about to die, God sends his replacement. Jack's parents refused to let him go, but just 7 hours later they called the priest again. The boy saw the devil standing at his window. Of course, he wasn't saying nice things. He insisted over and over for him to jump off the balcony. 2 weeks later, Jack had the first shared vision. After praying with the nuns, he fell to the ground unconscious. Upon waking up in his cell at the convent, he asked for his notebook and began to draw. As soon as he finished, the Mother Superior took photographs and sent the mail, as she was obliged to do. Every time Jack had an episode that day, 7 out of 12 had the same vision, or at least very similar. Jack was the youngest member of the Eyes, but he didn't know it. They don't know each other, so he had never found out that others drew the same thing. With fine strokes of pencils, he had made St. Peter's Square covered in flames and fireballs falling from the sky. While greeting the public with a creepy smile, there was the Black Pope. Parrilli appeared again in the convent. He had a 5-question interrogation for the child linked to the drawing. And thanks to that, to the answers given by the seven, the real prophecy of the Black Pope could be assembled. Listen. Parrilli sat in front of Jack and told him, "Look, kid, I'm going to tell you that there are more like you, and Pope John Paul II received a report yesterday that said, alert eyes, 7 out of 12. It means that 7 of you have seen the same thing. Now tell me, how did you feel when you had the vision? At peace? Angry?" "Yes," he answered sadly. "People's skin swells from the heat and they scream until they turn to ashes." The priest took note and continued, "We recognize the building from the drawing. It's called St. Peter's Square, but there's a figure on the balcony here. He's waving. Can you tell me who you think it is?" And the boy replied, "It's the Black Pope, the last one." "It's not what it seems. Learn how to open the portal." "And they arrive," Parrilli said. "What do you mean by black? And do you know who are the ones who come through that portal?" The question surprised Jack, who answered, "I mean black because light doesn't come out of it, not like it comes out of you or me. They will choose a pope without light, and he is interested in the things that the Vatican has stored away, the secret ones, the ones that are below. So he makes everyone study one of those things. Is there a book or something like that? Papers. It's how they manage to open the portal and they arrive wrapped in fire. Do you understand me, Father? I don't mean someone with dark skin, like my friend Lois, the convent's gardener. It could be, but I can't distinguish his skin color because the light doesn't come from him." Parrilli asked one last question. "Do you know when they will come? Did you see when the portal will open, that Black Pope?" The boy answered, "After the good Pope from the south, one whom everyone cries for when he dies, but I don't know what that means." Before leaving the place, Parrilli told him, in a bad way to the Mother Superior, that the child should not have contact with anyone who could influence him. That this Luis the Cardinal should be far from Jack, but Mother Superior A replied that good Luis had died in 1997 and that since then they were the ones who cut the grass. There they understood that Jack was more powerful than the other seers of the eyes because he could also communicate with the dead. At that time, the priest indicated in his report that the child had not been able to specify the date. John Paul II, who was Pope at that time, received almost the same report from the other 6 envoys. All the seers agreed, and based on that they developed a prophecy that goes like this. The good Pope from the south will die. The one without light will rise, playing with ancient manuscripts without peace. And they will arrive when the portal opens. In fire, the Vatican will fall. And the ashes that cover the sky are from the men who once walked the earth. I am the documentarian, and this was the Black Pope.